How you doing there? Welcome back to Babylon Talmud. Today we're studying Daf. Daf Peches, Daf 88 of Masechta Sanhedrin. Okay. So we're in the middle of like all of these kind of technical details about Zaken Mamre, about the different things he can rebel against that have chiyuv kares. So we're going to wrap that up, and I would really like today to wrap up the whole sugya of Zaken Mamre. That's what I would like to do, and then tomorrow we'll just basically do the sugya of Navi Sheker. That's what I would like to do. All right, let's see. Okay, so we are on Daf Peches Amid Aleph on line 4, the fourth line of Daf Peches Amid Aleph. Divrei. So Divrei is Elo Arachim V'Achrom V'Hekdeshos. Okay, so Divrei refers to declaring things as right Eirech, right, to donate somebody's Eirech, or make something Cherem or Hekdesh. Ha'arochin. So when it comes to Eirech, bepluktu do Amer v'Abanan Zetanan Amarich Pachos mi ben Chodesh of Meir Omer Noisein Dama v'Chachom Lo Omar Klum. So Arochin, of course, are fixed amounts per person, right? So for example, if you say, if you go up to a man who is 40 years old and you say, I'm going to donate your Eirech to the Beis HaMikdash, so there's a fixed price on that. So every single 40-year-old man will be 50 shekels. Fixed amount. As opposed to if you say domim, that I'm going to give your domim, so then we would basically evaluate how much he would be sold for as an eved. So now the thing is, there are amounts for, right, that would be subjective per person. Now the thing is that there are amounts for between the ages of 1 month and 5 years, 5 years and 20 years, 20 years and 60 years, 60 and up. But there is no amount for less than a month. So if some chacham comes and says, I said that sarcastically, if some guy comes and says, I'm going to give the eirech of somebody less than a month old, well, there is no eirech for somebody less than a month old. So Reb Meir says, look, Eino demotzi dvar levatol. So you know what? If he said eirech, we assume it to mean domim, and he's going to give the domim the value. Somehow you evaluate the actual value of as the amount that he would be sold as an eved for a less than 1 month old baby. And the Chacham say, look, if there's no such thing, if there's no category for the Eirech of a less than 1 month old baby, so then Pashit is it's irrelevant. He doesn't have to give anything to the Beis HaMikdash. So again, where am I? So ha'arachin befluktu do Amer v'Abanan, machlokes Amer and Rabbanan. Tetan Amarich pachos miben chodesh. If somebody declares that they're going to give the eirech of a baby less than a month old, so Meir Omer nosin damov. So Meir says, okay, well there is no eirech for less than a month, so okay, give the damim. Whereas the Chacham say, no, it's irrelevant, as if he said absolutely nothing. And what's of course the kares here? The kares is, what if the gizbar comes and takes by force the amount, the damim, the amount of damim? So is it stealing or is it not stealing? According to Meir, it's not stealing. According to Chacham, it is stealing. And therefore, if they would be Makadish woman with that money, so then what happens? Fine. Where am I? Okay, fine. Givaldig. Okay. 1 second. Okay, yeah. Right. Okay. Where am I? I'm in Rashi for a second. Right. Okay. If you're gonna be right. If it's hekdesh, it's not about being gezel, it's about being hekdesh. Where am I? There's a potter. Right. Imba gizbar mashchenu umashkeno and took a mashkin. The Amer ave hekdesh ve'eno ish miskadesh bo elam ken yodeabo. Right. So therefore, if they take a collateral and then they try to be makdish somebody with it, so be makdish with hekdish, and it wouldn't work, and therefore you get into things and then kares and stuff like that. Hacharomim, when it comes to cherems, we put it to Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira for Rabbanim. The time Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira Omer stam charom lebedek habayis, that a stam cherem goes to the bedek habayis, to the temple treasury, according to Rabbi Yehuda ben Beseira. Shneimar kol cherem kodesh kodashim ula Hashem. Stam charom lekoin. Whereas the Chacham say by default the cherem goes to the kohen. Shenemar k'stei acherim lakoin tiye achu zoso. It goes to the kohen. Came out tamalom kodesh kodashim Hashem. Then why does it say to God? Shechol olav kodesh kodesh. Shechol al kodesh kodesh al kodesh kalim. That it applies to kodesh kodesh and kodesh kalim as well. And the okay, and therefore it's a shaila of a din me'ila, right? That if so if it goes to the Bedek Habayis, so let's read that again. So when it comes to Charamim, I'm going to read that again. HaCharam beflukta do bidu ben b'seir v'rabbanon. So machlokes do bidu ben b'seir v'rabbanon. D'tnan, bidu ben b'seir omer. Stam charam lebedek habayis. So by default, a cherem. I guess if you say that I'm making this like chair cherem or something, I don't know that much about cherems. I suspect we're going to get to it in Shavuos maybe, which is 2 Masechtas away. I think maybe. What's his base from? No. Okay. So by default it goes to the Bedek Habayis. And if it goes to the temple treasury, so there's a din me'ila, right? If you get benefit from it, so then you have to bring a korban me'ila. Shenemar, as the Pasuk says, Kol cherem kodesh kodeshim hu la Hashem. It goes to Hashem. It goes to the temple treasury. Okay. And then the issue with me'ila is maybe also ashim kodesh kodeshim va'ochlu b'tuma'ah. If you eat it then b'tuma'as gufo chayiv kares. So if it has a din me'ila, so then you bring korban asham. And if you bring korban asham, then if somebody eats it b'tumah, so then the chayiv kares. Okay. The Chacham says stam charam the kohen. By default, the cherem goes to the kohen. Shnemer kistei acherim la kohen te'achuzasa. The cherem goes to the kohen. Im kim atam lo kodesh kodashim hu Hashem. Then what do you do with kodesh kodashim hu Hashem? It sounds like it goes to the treasury. So shechol al kodshim al kodshim kal. When it says kodesh kodashim hu Hashem, it's to say that cherem even applies to kodshim and kodshim kal, that you can make them cherem. Hekdeshos, when it comes to hekdesh, beflukta to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov v'Rabbanon, the Tanya Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer, afilu tzinorish al hekdesh, even a like fork that you use to spin, was it gold or something? Yeah. Okay. Tzricha asar bnei adam lefdosa. Even this, I think the point is even like this like small object, you would need 10 people in order to be podeh, and I think the point is to evaluate the value to be podeh. So that is Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov's opinion. The Chacham say that you wouldn't need 10 people. So what if you were podeh with 9 people? So according to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, it would not be podeh. According to the Chacham, it would be podeh. And the nafkamina is it still hekdesh? And if it is hekdesh, okay, so then it has a din me'ila, and then if it has a din me'ila, then you have to bring a, right, so meaning according to the Chacham, it's valid. According to Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov, it's still hekdesh, which means that there's a din me'ila, and then if you bring a korban and somebody says instead of tumah, then there's kares. Alright. Rivos, ze ashkoa sota v'arifasa egla v'taris mitzora. Okay, when it comes to fights, that is like a sota, and arisa egla rufa, which is when somebody's killed because of a fight, v'taris mitzora, and a mitzora, which comes because of lashon hara, fighting words. V'ashkoa sota b'flukta de Rabbi Eliezer v'Rabbi Yoshua. So when it comes to the sota waters, is in the machlokes of Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. The Tanan that we learned in the Mishnah, makane leishto. If somebody warns his wife, don't be with so and so secluded. Rabbi Eliezer omer makane al pi shnayim, mashka al pi echad, al pi eid echad, or al pi atzmo. Rabbi Yoshua omer makane al pi shnayim, mashka al pi shnayim. So, all right. Okay, so how does sota work? So sota works that a husband suspects that his wife is having an affair. So he warns her in front of 2 witnesses, and he says, don't be secluded with this individual. Now, what happens if one person now comes and says that they saw that she was now secluded with that individual after she was warned not to be? So it's machlokes Rabbi Eliezer and Rabbi Yoshua. Rabbi Eliezer says that eid echad, one witness, is enough to make her now have to drink the sota water. Or even if he himself comes and says, I saw my wife was now secluded with this man, so she would have to drink the sota water. Rabbi Yeshua says, no, you would have to have 2 witnesses who say that she was subsequently secluded with this man. The nafkamina is, well, a woman who refuses to drink the sota waters, she is not entitled to receive her ksuba. So, according to Rabbi Eliezer, if there's 1 witness, so then she must now drink the sota waters, and if she refuses, she's not entitled to her ksuba. According to Rabbi Yoshua, you need 2 witnesses. If there's only 1, it makes no difference, and she would still be entitled to her ksuba. Now, what if she sold her ksuba to somebody else, and then this person now forcibly takes the value of the ksuba? Is that considered theft or not? And if it is considered theft, if he then goes and is mekadesh a woman, she's not actually mekudeshes, then we get to the situation of what if somebody else is mekadesh her, who she married to, and there's the HSC, chiyuv kares. Okay. So again, so Hashkoa Sota beplukta Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Yeshua Detzana Makane Leishto. Somebody who warns his wife, Rabbi Eliezer Omer Makane Al Pishnayim. He warns her in front of two witnesses, Umashke, and she must drink the waters based on the testimony of Al Pi Eid Echad, based on the testimony of one witness, or Al Pi Atzmo, or even based on the husband's own testimony that he saw them secluded together. She would have to drink this Sota potion. Rabbi Yeshua Omer was Rabbi Yeshua disagrees. Makane al Pishnaim. She's warned in front of two witnesses. Umashka al Pishnaim, and also she must be. Two witnesses must come forth and say that they saw her seclude herself. At which point she would have to drink the mei sota. And as I explained, if one person comes, machlokas between the two, that's enough kamina. If she will actually be required to drink the mei sota, if so, then she's not entitled to collect her ksuba if they get divorced, or I guess if she becomes a widow. And what if she sold it and mekadesh a woman, etc. Arifas Egla, also by Egla Arufa beflukta to Rabbi Eliezer Rabbi Akiva. That's not the below in the Mishnah. May ayin ayu modedin that. So what's an Egla Arufa? Egla Arufa is that if you find a corpse in the middle of between hither and yon, and you're saying, "Wow, I just found a corpse in the middle of nowhere." What is the closest city? So they measure what is the closest city from the corpse. So may ayin ayu modedin. Okay, where would they measure from? Rabbi Eliezer Omer mitibur. Rabbi Eliezer said that they would measure from the belly button, from the navel of the victim. Rabbi Akiva Omer mechotmo. Rabbi Akiva says they would measure from the shnaz, from the nose of the victim. Rabbi Eliezer ben Yaakov Omer mimokim shenai sechol mitzavaru, from his neck. And the nafkamina is, what if there's one city closer to his navel, and there's another city that's closest if you measure from his shnaz? So now, if like the Bezin said one thing and the Zaken Mamri says something else, well, you cannot be Mekadesh a woman with an Egla Arufa. So, if you're then Mekadesh a woman, with one of the Egla Arufas, so then, we don't know, is she Mekudesh, is she not Mekudesh? What if somebody else is Mekadesh her, and then, Eishasish and Kares? Okay. Taras Mitzora, beflukta Rabbi Shimon v'Rabbanan. The purification of a mitzora is the machlokes of Shimon and the Rabbanan. It's not ein loy boyin yad boyin regel oizen yamanis. So, as part of the purification process of mitzora, they got to take some blood of an animal and put it on his thumb, hand, on the thumb of his hand, the thumb of his foot, the thumb toe, his ear. So, what if right hand, thumb, right foot, thumb, right ear? What if he doesn't have them? What if he doesn't have these things? Ein lo tayr lama. So according to Tanakama, well, then he's stuck. He's a mitzora, and there's no way for him to become pure because they have to put blood on these body parts that he doesn't have. So he's stuck as a mitzora forever. Rabbi Eliezer Omer says, Rabbi Eliezer says, well, just put it where they were. Okay, wherever his thumb was, just put it there. Or the place, or, if you never had a thumb, so with the place where the thumb belongs, put it there. Rabbi Shimon Omer says, Rabbi Shimon says, put on the left hand. So the shaila is, is it possible for him to become pure? The nafkamina is, well, what if he goes into the Beis HaMikdash? If you go into the Beis HaMikdash when you're Thomas, then you are chayiv kares. Okay. Fine. Okay. B'sharecha, in your gates, zeleket shechacha ufeya. Okay, what's leket? Leket is when, did we say this already? Leket is when you are gathering your stalks, and then as you're gathering it, like, 2 stalks fall. So you have to leave that for the poor people. Shechicha is if you forget to harvest some stuff. So you got to leave it. And peya is that you leave the corner of your field for the poor people. Leket, it's not leket, we learn in the Mishnah, shnei shibolin leket, that if 2 stalks fall to the ground while you're collecting stuff, that's leket. You leave that. Shlosha einan leket, but if 3 fall, then that's not leket. You could pick those up and keep those. Shechicha, if you forget to harvest stalks, shnei omarin shechicha, shlosha einan shechicha. 2 two like stalks, I guess, I don't know, like that haven't yet been harvested, you leave them. But if there's three, you could harvest them. And actually, Beis Shammai argues and says that no, even three still goes to the poor person. But if there's four, then the Baal Bayis could take it. Peya, when it comes to Peya, beflukta Rabbi Yishmael. Okay, Zeu. So therefore, it's the shayla of if there's like, let's say, three, and a poor person takes it. So then, is it considered leket and shichacha or not? What if they're mekadesh a woman? I think that's the point of being mekadesh the woman. Okay, yeah, okay. Now, yeah, okay. Where are we? Now, when it comes to peya, b'flukta Rabbi Yishmael v'Rabbanan de Tanya, mitzvahs peya la'afish min hakoma, that peya is separated from the standing stalks. Right, you leave the corner. Lo yafish min hakama, but if you didn't separate it from the standing stalks, yafish min ha'amarin. Okay, so if you already harvested everything, okay, so just separate from the sheaves. Lo yafish min ha'amarin. If you didn't separate from the sheaves, yafish min hakri. Okay, when you pile it together, so then just separate it from the pile. Ad shelo mercho. As long as you haven't done meruach, which is the final step of piling, which is you smoothing out the top of it, and that's meiruach, and at that point it's chayiv in trumas and maisus. Mercho. What if you already separated? What if you already did meiruach? So maaser. So first you separate trumas and maisus, v'nosin lo, and then you give. I think your point is that you give from the maiser. I think because that would the payer would be potter from maiser. So I think you can even give it separated from the maiser. I think. Let me confirm that actually, but I think that is. Correct. Let's see. Then give it to the poor person. Yeah. The pay. Okay. So after the miruch, he has already activated the tithing obligation, and therefore the pay separate at that point will be subject to maisus. When the poor person's share of the pay will reduce the amount of maisus that he must separate from it. Therefore, the rabbis require the farmer to tithe the produce and then separate the pay, not to reduce the poor person's share. Wait, I didn't understand that. Wait, 1 second. No. Okay. So what it's saying is that normally pay would be exempt from maisus, right? Because it's matnos haniyim, right? So if somebody leaves the corner of the field as he's supposed to and just not harvest it, and the poor people come and harvest it, they don't have to separate trumas and maisus from it. However, in this case, he already harvested it, put it in the pile, did meiruach, so now it's chayiv in trumas and maisus. Once the pile is chayiv in trumas and maisus, so if he just gives the payah from that, well then it's chayiv in trumas maisis, and the poor person's going to have to separate trumas maisis, and it's going to reduce from the amount that he's able to take. So therefore we say first separate trumas maisis, send that away, and then from what's left separate payah, and that way whatever the poor person gets is entirely theirs. Okay. Where am I? Okay, fine. Okay. Yeah, okay. Minamon. Kriya achelo mercho. Mercho maasav v'nosin lo. Mishum Bishmael omru af mafish menisa. Rabbi Shmuel says that even after you've ground up the grain and made it into a dough, still you could separate payah. Whereas the Tanakama would say that you are potter. So now, Tanakama would say that once you grind it up, you're potter. Rabbi Shmuel says that no, you could still separate payah. So what happens if a poor person comes and takes the payah? Is it considered theft or not? What if they're makadosh a woman? Is there karis? If there's an ish, etc. Gimel batedin v'chulei. Okay. So we say that there were three Bezdins, by the base of Mikdash, one by the entrance to the Temple Mount, one by the entrance of the Azara, and one in the Lishkas Agazos. Omer of Kahana says of Kahana, who Omer mipi Hashmua, ve'ein Omer mipi Hashmua. So if basically he is saying, wait, who is if he's the sage, okay. And the high court, okay, fine. So if the Zakin Mamre comes and he says, look, this is my opinion, and it's based on a tradition that I received. I'm not making it up. It's based on a tradition that I received. And the Bezdin that they go to in Yerushalayim says, well, we've received a different tradition. Well, Eino Nerag, he's not going to be killed for that. Hu Omer Kachu Be'enai, if he says, look, this is the way I see it. I don't have a tradition, but this is what makes sense to me. Ve'enom Kachu Be'enenu, and they say, well, this is how it makes sense to us. He's not killed for that. And certainly, if he says, look, this is the tradition that I received, and they say, well, this is what we think is right, is not going to be killed. But until he says, I see it this way, and they say, well, we have a tradition another way. And then he goes back and tells people to do like he sees fit in his eyes, even though the Bezdin in Yerushalayim said that there's an opposite tradition. Because you should know, after all, they didn't kill Akav ben Malalel. Apparently there was a situation where Akav ben Malalel disagreed with a few things, and he had a tradition for this, and it was his tradition versus the other people's traditions, and he was not killed. Elazar says, Afilu hu omer mipi hashmua. Rabbi Elazar says, fakert. Even if the Zaken Mamre is saying based on what he, based on his tradition, and they say, well, this is what we think, this is what it looks right to us. Still, even though he's saying it based on his tradition, Nerag, he's going to be killed. Kedei shelo yibu machlokes b'Yisrael, because we don't want machlokes b'Yisrael. We don't want machlokes, and therefore, even though yes, he's right. It reminds me of like the story with Rabbi Eliezer in with the Tana Shel Achnai, Keilu, right? That we go based on the majority, right? We go like we have things like, so in this case, if the Bezdin Yerushalayim is saying that this is what we do, even if they're saying that this is what we do because this is what we think is right to us, well then that's what we do. Because we don't want machlokes, we have to have rules over here. If the Bezdin Yerushalayim is saying that's what we do, then that's what we do, even though the Zaken Mamre has a tradition, a different tradition. So then why didn't they kill Akav ben Malalel who had his differences? Because he didn't teach halacha l'maisa that people should do it that way. That's why he was not killed. Tanan, we learn in our Mishnah, that the Zaken Mamre comes to Yerushalayim and he says, this is how I darshan, this is how my friends darshan, this is how I taught, this is how my friends taught. My love, is it not talking about even a scenario where he's saying that this is my tradition and they said this is how we see it? No, you could say that it's talking about where he says this is how I see it, and they're saying based on tradition, and that's why he's killed. Tashma Kamanir, the Amr of Yosha says of Yosha, Shlosha Dvarim Sachli Zeira Me'anti Yerushalayim. Zeira from the people of Yerushalayim told me three things. If you have a husband who warns his wife not to be secluded with a certain person, and then he says, you know what, I take it back. I take back the kinui. It's null and void. Okay, so it's null and void. Ben Sora More, Ben Sora More, if his parents change their mind and say, you know what, forget it, we don't want to kill our son. Okay, so we don't kill him. They mochel him. Zaken Mamre shirotzu bezdino limcha lo mochalin lo, and also by Zaken Mamre, if the bezdin says, you know what, forget it, take it easy on him. He's a Talmud Chacham, he's a Yoreh Shamayim, leave him alone. So we leave him alone. However, says Zeira Ishu Me'anti Yerushalayim. He says, when I went to my friends in the south. Where am I? Al Shnai Moduli, they agreed with regard to two of them. However, i.e. Ben Sora Mora and the Baal Shekina Lishto, but Al Zaken Mamre lo hodu li kedei shelo yarbu machloikes b'Yisrael, so that there shouldn't be machloikes in Israel. That's such an important thing, that there shouldn't be machloikes in Israel, and therefore that, you know, a Zaken Mamre cannot be. You can't be mochel on a Zaken Mamre. He's doing something terrible by creating machloikes. We need to have a clear halachis. So Tiyufta, it's a kasha on the, I think it was Rav Chizda, right? Rav Kahana, who said that only when he's saying based on his view and they're saying based on their tradition, only in that case it would be a Zaken Mamre. But here we see, no, it's like Rabbi Elazar, who says that even if he says this is my tradition and they say, well, this is how we see it, you would be killed because we need to prevent machloikes. Tanya, we're learning the Brayso on Rabbi Yossi. Says Rabbi Yossi, Mitchila loy ayu marbin machloikes be Yisrael. Initially, there was not a lot of machloikes in Israel. Although there's even a gears that gets rid of marbin, and that means Mitchila lo ayu machloikes be Yisrael. Initially, there was no machloikes. The tradition, right, knew rather what? Ela bezdin shel shivim ve'echad yoshvim b'lishkas hagozis. You had the bezdin of 71 in the lishkas hagozis. V'shnei batei dinin shel esim v'shlosha echad yoshev al pesach ha'raboyis ve'echad yoshev al pesach ha'azor. And then two additional bezdins of 23, one by the entrance of the Azor, one by the entrance of ha'raboyis. V'shai batei dinin shel esim v'shlosha yoshvim b'chol hayoris Yisrael. And in every city there were more bezdins of 23. So if there was a question, so she'alimi bezdin shabirun, so you would ask the bezdin in your city, in their city, shamu amulen, if the bezdin in the city knew, they would say, v'im lav boin loza shesamuch liun, so they would go, I guess, to the next closest bezdin. Im shamu, if they knew amulayim, they would say, v'im lav, if not boin loza shapesach ha'arbois, so then you would come to Yerushalayim and go to the bezdin by the entrance to ha'arbois. Im shamu, if they knew amulayim, they would say, v'im lav, if not boin loza shapesach ha'azora, then they would go to the bezdin by the entrance to the Azor, v'omer kach l'rashik v'kach l'darshu chaver, kach l'mativ, kach l'mdu chaveri, and by Zaken Mamre he would say, this is how I learned, this is how my friends learned, this is how I taught, this is how my friends taught. Im shamu, if they knew by the bezdin at the entrance to Azor, they said v'im lav, and if not, elu ve'elu boin lishkas agozis, then they would go to the lishkas agozis, to the Sanhedrin Gedola. Shesham yoshvu mitam shel shachar atam shel ben arbaim, and there in the lishkas agozis, they would be sitting, the Sanhedrin would be sitting from the Tamid Shal Shachar to the Tamid Shal Ben Arbaim, the Gans talk, the whole day. And on Shabbos and Yom Tiv, Yeshvim Bechel, they would sit in the Chel, they wouldn't be in the Lishkas HaGozis. And Rashi had said that is because I said it shouldn't look like they're sitting in judgment on Shabbos and Yom Tiv. So they sit in the Chel instead, which is like the area, I believe, surrounding the Azor. Nishala she'ela b'fneim. So then, the question was asked before the Sanhedrin. Im shamu, if they knew the answer, amulayim, they would respond. If not omdin laminin, they would take votes in the Sanhedrin. They would count up. They would each give their opinion. Rabam tamu, Rabam taru. If the majority of them, if the majority indicated that the verdict was that the answer is Tuma, so it's Tameh, if Tar, okay. But when there were many students of Shammai, and there were many students of Hillel who didn't properly learn Kemoshe Tzarich, Rabbi Machloikes b'Yisrael, so then there began to be Machloikes in Israel. V'naisis Terah kishtei teris. And the Torah became like there were two Torahs. There was the Beis Shammai, there was the Talmidei Beis Shammai Torah, and the Talmidei Beis Hillel Torah. Okay. Now, Misham Kozim v'Sholchim b'chol Mekomis, and then from the Lishkas, I think the Lishkas Agajus, they would write and send out to all the places called Mishahu, Chacham v'Shval Berech. Anybody who's a Chacham and is like humble, basically. V'das abrius nochem, and the people like him, he's likable. Yehidayin beiro, should be a judge in his city. Misham ma'alen also lahar aboyis, and then when you're ready to move up, so you can then go to har aboyis. Misham la'azor, and then if you get an upgrade from there, you'll go to the bezdin by the azor. Misham lishkas agazis, and then if you get a bump up, so you go to the promotions, then you go to the Sanhedrin agadol in the lishkas ha-gozis. Shalchu mitom, Ezu ben Olam Haba, they sent from there, maybe that means from like Eretz Yisrael. Shalchu mitom, B'diuk, Daf Yud Zayin Amud Beis. So who's Shalchu mitom? So Shalchu mitom is, drumroll please, Shalchu mitom, where are you? Come on. Shalchu mitom, where are you? Where are you? Okay, come on. I'm just trying to keep the momentum going. Keep going. Oh, Shalchu mitam, Rabbi Yosef Rabbi Chanina. There you go. Shalchu mitam is Rabbi Lazar. Okay, so Shalchu mitam, I guess Rabbi Lazar sent. Ezu ben Olam Haba, who is a ben Olam Haba? Anvisun, a humble person. V'shval berech, and I guess he like walks like with his back like not straight up, and haughty. Shaiv ayil shaiv v'nofik, he's just like kind of bent over when he comes in and out. Vigars baraisa tzdir, and he's always learning. For the machzik tivus l'nafshe, and he doesn't hold good, he doesn't think that he deserves like good stuff, I guess. Yavu berabana enayun Rabula bar Abba, and everybody said, everybody was looking at Rabula bar Abba, I guess he fit this criteria. Okay, now after going to Yerushalayim, if the Zaken Mamre now goes back to his city and he teaches like he was, so Tanarbanan Eino Chayv Ad Sheyaisik also, or Sheyor Lacherim V'Yaisik also. He's only Chayav if he himself does like he is like his opinion, or if he tells others to do like his opinion and they do it. Also, Bishlama Yor Lachem V'Yasikoras. No, fact the Gemara, I understand why there would be this whole Zaken Mamre that it would be Chayiv Misa, it would be Chayiv Chenek for telling other people to do like like his opinion. So he's passing for other people to do like his opinion, then they do it. So wow, we say, look what you did, and we strangle him for doing that. Meikar la barktolu, because after all, initially, he's not chayiv any capital punishment other than being a zaken mamre. But v'hashta barktolu, now he's violated a capital offense by telling people to do like his opinion. They did like his opinion, and now he's a zaken mamre, and he's chayiv chenek. Ela sheyaisek kora also, but I don't understand the suggestion that he's chayiv if he does like his opinion. Well, if he does like his opinion, forget about being chayiv misa for being a zaken mamre. You're chayiv misa because you just did something bad. What does that mean? So meikar na'im baktalu, he's already a baktalu for the sin that he did. Atena eicha de ori b'chele v'dam de meikar la baktalu. Okay, so maybe you'll say sure, maybe for something like chelev and dam, right? Maybe there's a machlokas about chelev or about dam, and he paskin something about chelev and dam, which is a chiyuv already, right, which is not a capital offense. So okay, so if he does like he did, so it's not like his opinion, so it's not a capital offense, and we'll kill him for being a zaken mamre. But right, but what if the machlokes was about, I don't know, Shabbos? Well, let's say it was about if something is mutter or also to do on Shabbos, and then he went and he did like his opinion. Well, his opinion is considered wrong, which means that he's chayiv skila. So he's already chayiv skila. Why are we saying that he's chayiv chenek for being a zaken mamre? So meikar bar yasra hashta lo bar yasra. Yes, but initially he required, right, meaning for being mechal Shabbos in our example, so he would have had to have hasra. Here he doesn't need hasra for being a zaken mamre. Mesis to lo bar yasra ma'ika lemeimar. Okay, but what if he was a mesis, right? What if he was posking about, what's allowed to say and what's considered luring somebody to do avodah zarah? So there you don't need asra. So what difference does it make? So meikar I amar time mekablina mine ashta I amar time lo mekablina mine. The difference is that initially, if he would have given an excuse for why he's saying what he's saying, we would have accepted the excuse. Now we don't accept the excuse anymore because they already went to Bezdin and they told him that his opinion is wrong. So then he would be so now he would be chayiv misa, and we wouldn't accept any excuse or anything like that. Okay, fine. Okay. Chomer b'divrei sofim b'divrei Torah. So now says the Mishnah that divrei sofrim, things that are midorabanan, are actually more stringent than things that are midoraisa. For example, ha'omer ein tefillin k'dei lavro divrei Torah potter chomish totafos lo'osef al divrei sofrim chayiv. That if he says, I guess as a zaken mamre, that there's no such thing as tefillin. Okay, that's ridiculous. Of course, there's such a thing as tefillin because it's the Torah says that there's tefillin. But what about if he says that actually there aren't 4 boxes in the tefillin sharosh, there are 5? Well, in that case, it'll be chayiv as a zaken mamre. Says the Gemara, Amar Balazar, Amar Boshaya, Enuchayiv Ela Al Dover, Sheikar Midivrei Torah, Ufrosh Midivrei Sofrim. Says Rabbi Balazar in the name of Boshaya that he's only going to be chayiv on something that is written in the Torah but is explained by the rabbis. Veish Balahosif, and you could add on to it, V'mosif Goreya, and if you add on to it, Baltosif, right? By adding on to it, you're actually making it worse. Okay. Fine. So it sounds like it's saying that Dafka by Zakin Mamri is only chayiv for something that is written in the Torah, explained by the rabbis, and that there's something that you can add on to, and V'chol Mosif Goreya. Ve'ein lanu ela tefillin, and the only example of this is tefillin, Alibut Rabbi Yehuda, and this is according to Rabbi Yehuda, who says that was Rabbi Yehuda's opinion that we saw yesterday, that Zakin Mamri is only chayiv if he is disagreeing regarding something that is written in the Torah, but its details are fleshed out by the rabbis. And then it sounds like Rabbi Elazar and Rabbi Shaya add on that, and it has to be something that you can add on to it, and by adding on to it, you ruin it. And the only example of this is tefillin, that if you add a fifth box, you are ruining it. What about lulav? Lulav is written in the Torah, but as we learned in Masechta Sukkah, right, we rely on divrei sofrim to explain, what is the lulav, what are the adasim, what are the ravos, what's the esrig. So right, it's a shaila in lulav hagazel, the third parak of Masechta Sukkah. And if you add, so it's written in the Torah, it's described by the rabbis, and if you add, let's say you add a fifth species, well, that's a problem. So why isn't that also an example by Zakin Mamri? So belulav my svirlan, yeah, but what do we hold when it comes to lulav? Svirlan to lulav ain sarich eged. If we say that a lulav, all the four minimum of a lulav do not need to be tied together, well then they're all just kind of free. You're just holding them in your hands. Well then, well, let's just say that these four things are for your lulav, and this fifth thing is a separate thing, and it's not actually adding it to lulav. It's the lulav, the four minim are their own thing, and the fifth one is on its own. The isvirlan de tzarich eged, and if you say that you do need to tie together all of the minim of the lulav, well then garuv omeru. Well then, from the second that you tie it together, at that point is when you make it into the lulav, but it's pasul meikar. You're not adding anything; it's just completely pasul. Right? Because if you take the four minim, add a fifth one, and then tie it together, it's when you tie it together that it becomes the lulav, but the lulav is already pasul from the beginning. So it's just a pasul lulav. So you're not adding anything, and by adding it, you're ruining it. No, it's ruined min lichatchila. Right? So if you say lulav ain't tzarich eged, then halukudikai v'alukudikai. And if you say tzarich eged, so then it's just pasul min lichatchila. V'ika tzitzis. What about tzitzis? The Yikarim B'divrei Torah, that is right. Tzitzis, of course, is written in the Torah, as we say multiple times a day in Kriya Shema. U'ferosh Midivrei Sofrim, and it's explained Midivrei Sofrim, right? That there are 8 strings. Veish Balosif. What if you add a 9th string? V'mosif Goreya. If you add a 9th string, you're going to ruin it. Well, but tzitzis my svirlan. What do we hold by tzitzis? Isvirlan the kesher elyon lab doraisa. Well, if you say that the initial knot is not mi doraisa, so tying it isn't doraisa, then haluchudikoi by haluchudikoi. Well, then we can just say the 8 strings are proper, and the 9th one, forget, just ignore it. It's separate. V'svirlan kesher elyon doraisa. And if you say that the initial kesher is doraisa, well then just from the time that you tied it's already possible. You tied 9 when you need 8. So again, it's not like you're adding a 9th one and by adding it you're ruining it. From the time that you tied it initially it was already possible. Right? There's a garuva omid. So then why don't we say the same thing by tefillin? If you had tefillin with 4 boxes and then you add a 5th box to it, well, just say that the 4 boxes are on their own, the 5th one is separate. And if milichatchila you make 5 boxes, well, garuv omidu, it's already ruined meikar. So why is tefillin any different than tzitzis or lulav? So Amr Bzeira by Schitzon she'en royes ha'avir pasul. Well, the thing is that Reb Zeira says that the outermost boxes on the tefillin sharosh need to be visible from the outside, and if you cover it up with a 5th box, it's no longer invisible. So adding that 5th box, even though sure you could say but memela you're blocking the outer box and it's invisible, and it must be visible. That is why it is a problem. Okay, Chava, I want to push a little further, because it's like Erev Shabbos, and I'm not going to have time to record another one probably, and so I just want to get a little further, so that there's less to do tomorrow night, but also, if we go a shtickle further, it's not particularly difficult, and we'll wrap up the sugya of Zaken Mamre, and tomorrow we'll get to Navi Sheker. So it says the Mishnah, Ein Mamisin also lo bebezdin shebe'iru v'lo bebezdin shebeyavne. We do not execute the Navi, the Zaken Mamre, not in his local bezdin, v'lo bezdin shebeyavne, nor in the bezdin in Yavne. Okay, there was a period when the Sanhedrin was in Yavne. Okay. So it talks about, for example, if he went, whatever, some technicalities, if he went to Yerushalayim when the Sanhedrin was in Lishkas Hagazis and they ruled against him, and then it was only after the Sanhedrin was no longer in the Lishkas Hagazis, but then at that point they were in Yavne, and then that's when he, did like his teaching. And anyways, we don't execute him in Yavne. Elamailin also the Bezdin Hagazis Yerushalayim, right? So rather, he's executed in Yerushalayim. So meaning what? So the Zaken Mamre, right? He's of course disagreeing with the Bezdin, his local Bezdin. They go to Yerushalayim, and then that's when the Sanhedrin paskins against him, right? And then, meaning in the event that they paskin against him, and he goes back to his town, and he does like his opinion, not like the local Bezdin's opinion that was backed up by the Sanhedrin. So then they judge him in his town, right? A Bezdin of 23, it's a Dina Nefashis case. But if he's found guilty, they don't simply execute him in his town. Rather, they bring him to Yerushalayim. Right? Mishamin also had a regel, and there in Yerushalayim, they put him in jail until the next regel, when all the Yidden are going to become Teretz Yisrael, to become in Yerushalayim. Also regel, and then it's then during the festival, when everybody's happy and everybody's having a great time in Yerushalayim, that is when we strangle this fellow. Shenemar, as the pasuk says, B'chol ha'am, that the entire nation yishmu v'yiro v'lo yizidun od, so that the entire nation will hear and they'll be scared and they won't do this ever again. We'll make an example out of this person when everyone is in Yerushalayim. Rabbi Akiva, that's the opinion of Rabbi Akiva. Rabbi Yehuda Omer, Rabbi Yehuda says, which is interesting because Rabbi Akiva was Rabbi Yehuda's Rebbe. Is he arguing with his Rebbe? Is he arguing with Rabbi Akiva, or maybe that's just maybe the rest of the students quoting the opinion of their Rebbe, Rabbi Akiva, and Rabbi Yehuda is arguing and saying, no, the opinion of Rabbi Akiva is the following? But it's interesting. I don't know. Rabbi Yehuda says, no, we don't. I mean, if the guy, during Hanukkah is found guilty, we're not going to have him wait and sit there in jail on death row for several months until Pesach. No, of course, right? Generally, right? We learned in probably Nigmar Adin or something several prakim ago that we don't even judge on Friday, because then we'd have to wait till Sunday, and it's not fair to keep him waiting. Kilu, if he's found guilty, so you kill him right away. You don't make him sit on death row for extended periods of time like they do in some other places. So Elam and Misan also miyad. Rather, says Rabbi Yehuda, you kill him, you execute him immediately. And then, what about the fact of Yishmun Viron? Okay, then you send, you write letters, hear ye, and you send messengers to all of the places, right? Of course, right? It's like in the Megillah, they sent right to all the Chom Medinos Hamelech, and they Hachashtarpnim Bnei Haramachim. What that is? Anyways, Yotzu Muvalim to Chufim with Varmelech Vados Nidna B'Shushan Abiru. Anyways, and send to all the places and say so and so was chayiv misa in Bezdin, and that way everybody will know about it and they'll be scared and they won't do it. Oh, this is taka amazing. I was just learning a mimer from Rav Ginsburg, and he was talking about how Re'iyah is dafka more important than Yediyah. And you could say that's the difference between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Yehuda, that according to Rabbi Akiva, you dafka need the Re'iyah, whereas according to Rabbi Yehuda, he's saying that Shmiya alone is enough. Gewaldig. So now says the Gemara Tana Rabbanan the Rabbi Start Eima Misin also lo bebezdin shebeiro, right? As is basically very similar to our Mishnah. We don't kill him in the bezdin in his city, lo bebezdin shebeyavne, nor in Yavne. Elamaylan also the bezdin shagadol b'Yerushalayim. We bring him to the bezdin agadol in Yerushalayim. Mishabmin also at a regel. Then we put him in jail until the next festival. Misin also beregel, and we execute him during the regel. Shneimar v'cholam yishma v'yos, that the entire nation will hear and they will be scared. Rabbi Akiva, that's Rabbi Akiva's opinion. Rabbi Yehuda says to him, yiru v'yiro. It doesn't say that they will see it and be scared. They say they just need to hear about it and be scared. So therefore, why do we need to put this guy in death row until the festival? We execute him right away. We don't make him wait. And then we send out to all the places that so and so is killed in Bezdin, and everybody will be scared. There are four that require announcing, as we just said, right? That the people should know that so and so is being killed. So a mesis, somebody who does avodah zarah, who convinces others to do avodah zarah, and we kill him. Ben Sorah Moreh, as well as Ben Sorah Moreh, v'zakin mamrei, and zakin mamrei, as we just learned, ve'edim zom and edim zom, v'chuluk sivu, v'chol ha'am, v'chol Yisrael. Right, by all of the other examples, it says v'chol ha'am, the entire nation, all of Israel. Ve'edim zom ksivan nisharim. That says by zom, those who remain will be scared. Because by edim zom, it's specific by witnesses. Not everybody is shaykh to be a witness. There are people who are puzzled, the edus. All right. Well, that was daf Peiches of Masechta Sanhedrin. Wow, we wrapped up all of those examples of things that you'd be chayiv karis for zakin mamrei, and then we talked about what is the nature of the thing that he's rebelling against. Is it something that he heard from tradition, or maybe just something that he appears in his eyes? We learned about how initially there was no machlokas, and machlokas really only started to be introduced with the students of Hillel and Shammai, which is super duper interesting. Fine. And then, right, we learned about Baal Tosif a bit, how Zaken Mamre, according to one opinion, would only be chayiv for something that is in the Torah, but explained in the Rabbanan, and then Davka, there's issues of Baal Tosif. And then we also learned about the machlokas between Rabbi Kiva and Rabbi Yehuda about do you wait till the festival and kill him while everybody's in Yerushalayim for the festival, or do you just kill him right away and then send out letters and stuff? Wow, that was some daf. We just wrapped up Zakin Mamre. Tomorrow we're going to do Navi Sheker. Peace out.